America. I occasionally get flack for being a bit of an essentialist. It's a bit déclassé in some sectors of academia to believe that there is one sort of thing called justice or modernity or tolerance or freedom, because each of these words have at different times meant different things to different people. And each of those words have been used at different times to enact wildly different forms of oppression. To understand the variety of uses of these words, and also why I think it's an imperative of my discipline for me to keep trying to define them, we're going to talk a little bit about discourse. Hit the beat. Discourses are signs, including utterances and actions, that can be regularized to form the appearance of a system. We're talking about physical artifacts like dress and hairstyle, how we shake hands. For example, in medicalized discourse, the doctor's white lab coat, the degrees hanging from the wall, even the security officers hanging out in the hall are all part of the discursive structure that reproduces the authority of the doctor's utterances. One of the most interesting aspects of discourse analysis is seeing how discursive formations are discontinuous, allowing the same utterance to have a different effect in a different discourse. A famous example is the utterance, "I do," which, if you're participating in a marriage ceremony, allows you to claim your spouse on your tax return. The same utterance in the context of a presidential inauguration gives you access to fire nuclear arms. And if you're taking the stand as a witness, it allows you to testify against another person. In each context, the utterance "I do" has an effect, but the effect depends on the context. Another interesting aspect of discourse analysis allows you to see how contexts are racialized, classed, or gendered. For example, when a certain subsection of American white guys talk about freedom, they harken back to a lawlessness of going out west, claiming land, and using guns to kill any Native Americans to defend their property from each other and interlopers. This is the context within which a certain class of suburban white guys utters the word freedom to legitimize their political actions and gun advocacy. Now, a different class of women utter the word freedom in the context of medical control over their body. And when a lot of black people think about freedom, they think of breaking some man's chains. For many people who study discourse analysis, the question, is freedom good, redounds to, what is the utterance freedom doing in a particular context? What is it opposed to in this particular context? What is its effect? And what behavior is it correlated with? What is freedom against? Or, in popular parlance, what is its constitutive outside? Wendy Brown wrote a great book on the way the word tolerance is used in different contexts to legitimize all sorts of violent interventions. Now, Michel Foucault is probably the most famous discourse analyst in recent memory, and he showed how shifting the authority in one discourse can be used in another discourse as a means of social control. For example, the medical doctor, when put on a stand, can be considered a medical and legal expert. This doctor now has the legal authority to say if a person's in his or her right mind. We live in a world where economists are giving marriage advice and legal advice, and statisticians are now political experts. Now, as a philosopher, I tend to look for unity. For example, I haven't quite given up on freedom, so I wonder if there's a conceptual unity that accounts for why the word is used meaningfully in three disparate contexts, legitimizing three different actions. I ask the question, what is freedom such that it can be imperfectly instantiated in so many varied, hostile, and contradictory contexts? Now, for an answer, I suspect that freedom is externalized in objects, so we can't talk about freedom without understanding property rights and our claims, our legitimate claims on other people's labor. But my thoughts on freedom are fodder for the next episode. To recap, the same utterance, action, or symbol means different things in different contexts, and a discourse analyst looks at recurrent patterns of usage and what these utterances seem to do, bring about, or militate against in their particular contexts. Philosophers, on the other hand, also attend the context, but they look for a conceptual unity to account for the different uses of the words. Thank you for taking the time to watch this week's episode of The Funky Academic. Go ahead and like The Funky Academic on Facebook. If you have any questions, please shoot me an email and follow me on Twitter. Take care. Bye. If you only knew, you'd wish that you were in my shoes. You just keep on using me until you use me up.